is Dooby on. Okay, so I've had so many people in my chat telling me that Dooby is actually a crypto nut. Yeah. Okay, and that he basically did a rebranding. He came back, and now he's like transformed or whatever. Okay, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea whether or not this is true. However, I wouldn't be surprised the way that he talks about Jewish people, the way he talks about Israel, the way that he undermines and, misrepresents, situations involving Jewish people. It's all a little bit sus to me, okay? He's at the very least anti-Semitic, okay, in my opinion. But we'll see whether or not he is like a fascist, like a neo-fascist, basically, okay?
The tribunal is convening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be heavy-handed with the moderation here. So try to be brief in your criticisms, but be thorough. You must give Dooby a chance to respond. He will be brief in his responses, and he will, and I will enforce this, hear you out. So, weaponized discourse is going through the waiting rooms, and we'll be deep.
Weaponized discourse is Olive, who is now gone from this space. We actually kept in contact for... I think she used to watch my streams. I don't think she watches anybody from Twitch anymore. Maybe Brezavir, but I don't think, yeah. Oh, hey, it's Jenny Burns. Wait, is that the same as Jen Winks? Fuck. There's like multiple people here whose name is like Jen. Like, I don't even know who is who anymore. Wait, was I there 3 years ago? I don't even fucking know anymore. Okay, whatever. Also, does Whick not feel like that's hot? Like to have to wear a hood and also to wear a headset over that hood? That feels like a very moist environment he's making.
When they're ready, bring them on. And stick to the critics, right? Dooby needs no defense, except for himself. So Ninetails, you called last night, Dooby.
Also, Ninetails, another person who once watched my streams. This person, I kept them around for such a long time because they made everybody mad as shit, okay? They made everybody mad as shit. That's Ninetails? Yeah, of course, like, look, even the fucking profile picture is that, okay? Ninetails just made everybody mad because she is so self-righteous. Okay, she's like Ducat. Okay, she's like Ducat, okay? In the sense of like, she just can't shut the fuck up about everything. And she makes everybody unreasonably angry, okay? This motherfucker, okay? This motherfucker is the most fucking infuriating person. Eventually, I just banned her from my entire community, okay? Because at some point I was like, I can't handle this motherfucker anymore, okay? But this person was such a fucking content farm because every single time Ninetales would come on and talk about shit, people would come on to argue with her, okay? It was beautiful, all right? Fucking 5-year Andy back then, okay? This actually brings back a lot of memories. Weaponized Discourse or Olive or whatever, okay, is another person who watched me when I had like 30 viewers, okay? Damn. These people are like all fucking old heads, okay? Damn, son.
The Pied Piper of Nazis. Here he is. Go ahead.
The Pied Piper himself.
Yes. So first of all, I just want to double check my audio's okay, and I just want to apologize if any feedback comes through because my headphones aren't working, so I'm playing this through speaker. So it's up to Discord to filter that out. Yeah, my general concern is not with your server itself. I think there was a legitimate criticism with how it was named politics and how.
Yeah, Ninetales would always make these stupid fucking meta criticisms about people's community, except she way overdoes it and just ends up being very annoying.
A lot of unassuming people joined into a place that was full of Nazis without realizing it due to its name and being present from the beginning of Discord.
Also, she's anti-Semitic.
That's actually how I wound up joining, funnily enough. So there's a criticism of that, but I'm not here for that. My real criticism is that you tend to exist in other panel spaces like this. And you seem to bring with it both people who are outright Nazi/fascist/reactionary, because all three of those qualifiers count here, but also ones who may act like they're not for a very long time, but target people behind the scenes. And I don't think you have any way to account for that. And I think simply doing this carelessly because it gives you
Yeah, and of course she's like criticizing the fucking community.
a sense of righteousness.
That's
it's
what
really
she
hurting
does.
a lot of people who don't have as big of a voice as you
It's
to
funny,
express this. We're receiving a lot of denial, a lot of gaslighting for even trying to point out that this is a problem. And frankly, if you do continue to go to...
I'm unaware of the Ninetales lore, so she's anti-Semitic. Is she left as a... Bro, she is so much, dude. She is so much, okay? I don't even know where to begin on her. Like, she is almost like a legendary figure to me, okay? She's legendary. Legendarily annoying, okay?
Other spaces. I don't think you can say that you aren't making those spaces less safe for the people there.
So I'm going to try to expand on that and zoom in a little bit because I think that there's something there, but I think you missed it a little bit. So I don't think it's my presence that brings people along. In my community is not like a fan community. Right? They should talk me constantly. That is part of the culture actually, hating on me.
Well, may I ask something? Because I've been in a lot of communities where that's a culture. Whick, I I throw jabs at Whick all the time. Hopefully he knows it's only half serious at best. And I just want to know how you can tell the difference and how you know that those people who hate you aren't going to those places to ruin them just to spite you, for instance.
So let me give you an example of what I mean by like I don't mean like just like friendly jabs. I mean like, so for example, a few days ago, I had a big debate, a big public debate on the server with a couple Muslim guys about Islam and Aisha and sexual slavery and a few different interpretations of like hadith in the Quran, and it was like a huge shit show, right? Me and these other Muslim guys, and after that, I changed my name on the server to Allah. Right, like the Muslim like version of God or whatever. And I've been getting death threats for the last like 4 days from people on the server who just hate the fuck out of me.
Literally, who cares, Dooby? Oh, sorry, this was like so many years ago, so I guess this doesn't really count.
Demanding that I change my name. I'm not going to do it, but I also don't punish them because I don't care. It doesn't bother me, right? Like that's the level, right? It's not like a friendly jab. It's you're going to hell. Fuck you, you F word, blah blah blah, right? In my DMs constantly for like the last few days. So I don't think if these people were to like come to a community after me, I guess that's a possibility, but I'd be like. I'd have trouble believing that it happens like very often. I feel like it'd be very rare. But to like the thing that I was like stealing your point with is I do try to bring people from my server into Twitch. I ask people to come on all the time, but Discord people are not Twitch people, so it's very difficult to like make that actually happen. Because they just don't get the Twitch or panel space at all. They don't like the TOS, they don't like the moderators, they don't like anything, right? So it's very rare. But I would bring more people on here who are like hardcore like fundamentalist Muslims or hardcore fundamentalist Christians or hardline conservatives or fascists or like fucking authoritarian like communists. I'd absolutely bring them to the Twitch space, and I've been trying to because I think it's important for these ideas to be expressed and dealt with in a public way. I don't think it makes any sense to push these people into smaller communities where they radicalize each other and get no pushback from anybody. I think people need to challenge them, and I think that you need to.
What the fuck? I feel like Dooby is already like kind of contradicting himself. Like, would he have this opinion today about Destiny? Like, oh yeah, there's these like fucking random fucking small communities everywhere, like fucking doing random fucking radicalization shit and anti-fanning. Oh, rules for thee, but not for me? So Dooby back then, it seems like he was being the target of some anti-fan snark behavior after a debate. But now, these days, he is the snarker? He is the one that is being radicalized on Steven? God, what a fucking stupid fucking person.
To have the tools to challenge them, and the way that you get that is by interacting with them in a space where it doesn't actually do a lot of harm, right? And nobody, like if I have Haas on my server, and I've had him on a bunch of times, right? He's a very like tanky, like communist. I don't think we're actually doing any harm. I think what's actually happening is we're giving the community a chance to interact with ideas that they don't hear very often from somebody who's really good at expressing them and is able to push back, right? And they're challenging the worldviews in the same way that they're challenging his. And that's what the goal of the server is. It's that there are no golden cows. We want everybody to challenge every belief they have all the fucking time.
So my thing is that you said that you would bring in radicals from like all sides of the aisle. Essentially, is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, not just radicals, but like anybody.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I think there are a lot of people on my server who are amazing debaters, very, very intelligent people that I think would add a lot to the space. So I'm not like specifically choosing radicals, but I feel like most panels I've been on, and just like the Twitch space in general, is like pretty like, I think you're going to disagree with me, but I feel like it's pretty like lefty, right? Like pretty center left, if we're being like super charitable, but it's very left. So anybody you can bring on to like to rock the boat a bit, I think is a benefit to the space.
So my problem is that like most people would agree that if you want to talk about how there's violence on both sides, then you have to talk about the extremists on both sides, the fundamentalists. The radicals, the ideologues, the ones who are going to take their ideology to action against another group of people. And I think you're playing with fire personally. As you said, you've received death threats for doing relatively benign things. And I think that by creating that exposure without any sort of like controlled interaction, you're actually contradicting the whole point of de-radicalizing people, which is to protect the greater society. So by you exposing these people to other communities that aren't made for what you're doing specifically, you're forcing other people to play with the fire that you're playing with. And
that's not true. Come on. Oh my God. You know what? Never mind. Ninetales have always been this retarded, so you know I shouldn't expect anything from her. She probably also lives off of disability checks too.
I think that's highly irresponsible.
I think people on this platform and other Discord servers that I might visit have all the tools they have to get rid of these people if they don't want them there. So if someone does follow me and they're like a crazy radical, right? Get rid of them. Like that's fine.
Okay.
Let's point out you're creating.
I'm going to
if I may have it very quick. You're also creating the circumstance where they have to ban somebody first, right? So there's initiation of violence before the reaction.
I don't, again, so if somebody follows me from the community, right? Wait, are you talking about people following me or people that I bring in intentionally?
People that follow you from into the communities that you present yourself in.
Well,
Ninetales more like Ninetales. Yeah, people have made that joke before. I'm pretty sure people call her Ninetales.
Well, again, I can't be held responsible for that. Like, if my existence,
that's why I said I think you're irresponsible. So I rest my case.
Not, unless you're suggesting that I should stay in my server and go nowhere else, because if I go into any other space, someone might follow me. Right? There's a 1% chance someone's going to follow me. Like, I feel like that's kind of like a ridiculous standard to set.
Okay, so long as we seem to agree that you're actually being irresponsible with this. So as long as we're clear on that.
I don't think that's irresponsible. I think you have an unrealistic standard.
Before we get too far into this, right? Tuna Chip wanted to come in to back up Ninetales. Tuna also had. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Dubes. You're a nationalist. You talk about race on stream. The only thing that's like separating you from Nazi, not the actual meaning of the word, but the thing that people are calling you, is that you're a little soft on it, right? It's the fact that you're playing like right on this fence. So I think what people really want you to do, and the real call to action is, hey, we need someone to be the Nazi. We need someone to be the bad guy, to be the heel. Why aren't you stepping up to the plate? Queen Alexa ain't taking it. What are you taking?
So if you want like an actual Nazi, I can find you some. But I'm kind of curious. So you said like,
Where do you find them? Also, not only that, like during this period, does he talk about like a lot of crypto shit a lot? Now these days, it just seems like he's just trying to be anti-Semitic, but like,
I talk about race on stream. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so if you're gonna have the discussion, if you think that platforming the discussion, talking about like the predominance of Jews inside of businesses and to talk about this like relation between people, when you go on stream, you are like having those discussions. People want entertainment, man. They want to know. They want an evil person to bash up against, and you're not willing to give it to them. So are you an entertainer? Are you trying to be yourself on stream? What are you doing?
No, I'm just not a Nazi. So the way that I speak about Jewish, like disproportionate Jewish influence or representation in like the top level corporate positions is the same way that left.
that's Mr. Grove. Yeah, I know that. I've talked with Jews before.
Lefties talk about white overrepresentation, and it's true.
He's also
it is
a
a problem,
fan.
right? So if we want to push for a diverse society and inclusive society, these spaces need to be open for negotiation. And
They're
there are states.
They're different narratives altogether, by the way.
I don't agree with that at all.
They're equivalent.
There's
They're
already
equivalent to the fact that
legislation
they're
on the
stupid.
books in some states. Hold on, that have pushed to diversify the corporate boards, and I think that's a good thing. I want that to happen. So is it just that talking about like Jews being overrepresented in certain sectors? Does that make me like a Nazi or Nazi adjacent?
Oh my god, he is crypto, isn't he? Or at least he is anti-Semitic, right? Okay. Well, I didn't know that he espoused those kinds of opinions back then. Interesting. So what happened?
No, it's that you blur the lines between saying that they're highly represented and the idea that that's a bad thing when you say overrepresented. So this idea that there needs to be an equal representation, that's stupid. That's weird. We live in a meritocratic society.
Oh, he's trying to play the he's trying to play dumb, right? He's trying to do the whole like, oh, I'm just stating facts, right? 13% of the population commit 50% of the crime. I'm just stating facts. I'm just stating facts without like getting under any like underlying reason or whatever. The reason for that is because Jewish people just tend to be richer and they tend to be more well educated and they have a lot of inheritance, okay? Because a lot of them are like old houses full of business owners, blah blah blah, right? Yeah, like.
People are more skilled. People are individuals. People have like experiences as individuals. Now, if you want to say certain people are in positions, you want to call it certain people in positions that shouldn't be in them due to, you know, like family favors or something, you can do that. But you got to do the fucking research. You got to point to the real people, or you have to admit that the real thing here is that you have this sentimental thing that you're able to lean on saying, oh man, we sure need more X inside of career Y. I just don't, you're playing this like weird in between where you're not willing to admit that you think that people need to be like racially distributed equal to the society, regardless of the job. Like if we're talking about politics, maybe, but even then, just like to talk about it in entertainment of all places, why are Jews like represented highly in media? Because Jews be winning in media. Jews be making good films. They be making good business decisions. Like, I don't understand where
and Jewish women are hot. Exactly. But everybody could see when you try to frame something dishonestly, right? Because if you just say 13% of the population commit 50% of the crime, well, the only takeaway that I'm going to glean from you, okay, is that you just seem to be racist, okay? Why? Because you don't elaborate upon the reason lying underneath. You don't elaborate upon, like, what causes that. You don't elaborate. But automatically, people will think in their heads, oh yeah, black people are just naturally evil, or black people are just naturally criminal, or whatever the fuck, right? Because if you don't actually talk about any of the underlying reasons, how the fuck are you going to blame other people for interpreting you as someone who's being dishonest and inflammatory, right? So if Dooby is actually talking about like Jewish statistics, okay, and he's using like these veiled language, like overrepresented, right? Languages that are clearly charged in some direction, all right? In my opinion, yeah, like that's a coward's move, okay? Because, yeah, I don't know. Oh, I'm going to go to bed.
Actually sitting on the position.
Do you think that's because they're Jews, that they're winning, quote unquote?
No, man. I think it's that they are individual. Like, I think it's probably that they're being born into families that are encouraging them to go in those fields.
Right.
But that's not
families
with
Jews. Yeah. Okay. So families with that are encouraging them to go.
But again, okay, like what exactly is the point of saying this in the first place, right? You saying any fact, like, oh my god, I'm breathing air throughout my nose. Yeah, like that. It's a fact. It's a fact, technically speaking. But you ain't gonna be breathing any longer after I'm done with you. Okay? Why the fuck did you even bring that up?
Into these fields that maybe have a family history, because there is a lot of nepism in these industries of other people in these fields that might get them a leg up.
Nepotism if you're actually qualified.
Hold on. So it's not really meritocratic. I don't think we have a meritocratic system in the United States. I'm very surprised. I mean, maybe you're not a lefty. I don't know you. But most lefties, I think, would agree that the United States is not a meritocratic system. There is a lot of There are lots of ways that people are starting on unequal playing fields. And in some sense, that's okay. We can't expect there to be a totally equal playing field. But I think when the amount of this disproportionate representation is this much, I think there's an argument for saying, hey, we should probably do something about this and try to get people on a more equal level. And if we can't get them on an equal level to start, maybe somewhere along the way we should put in a policy to say, hey, we want a culture that's more diverse, more inclusive. So we're going to favor these people in these positions. We're going to incentivize these people in these positions. And if at the end of the day that still means that Jews are like 70-80% of this sector, that's fine, right? So long as other people are given the opportunity to be there and give their perspectives and be in these spaces.
I don't know whether or not you think the United States and then the private corporations that exist inside of them and the industries that exist inside of them are the same thing.
I'm so tired.
But like, I think that's like, you're really missing the mark if you think we're trying to say that the United States as a government and being not so meritocratic, it having some corruption. Like, what do you mean by that? You mean like the whole economic field? Are you an anti-capitalist? What's your point?
No, not an anti-capitalist. I think the whole system. So whether it's like the government and the private sector, there are a lot of people I know that are being born in positions where they have just way more opportunity than other people. And again, in some sense, that is okay. We can't expect to just like equal the playing field at the start. But if we can recognize that there's a discrepancy here, and that the discrepancy has been called by historical either oppression or historical like opportunities that were given to some that weren't given to others, then we should level that playing field in some ways. Like
why?
Start, but
why?
Because I want an inclusive society that doesn't just have like white people and Jews at the top because they happen to by circumstance of birth be born into a situation where they have more access to things.
What? That's arrogant. You fucking inbred moron. You absolute fucking pig. That's bro, you might as well just say, yeah, then I just support welfare or I support UBI. Why does it always have to be specifically Jews? Why is it specifically Jews, you fucking frogget? Like, you... Ooh, okay, I didn't say it. But like, why? Why does it have to be specifically fucking Jews? What is wrong with you?
So I'm sorry, I was being too soft when I called you the Pied Piper.
Bro, this motherfucker is okay. Yeah, no, this guy is 100% a fucking Semitic freak. Yeah,
Nazi. You're just doing JQ. You're definitely a Nazi.
How is that JQ?
That's a definite.
Okay, hold on. So when lefties argue that they're like that we need more.
Okay, I wouldn't say that's JQ, but it's like, okay, then that's a problem where you think that people deserve welfare and people deserve a good social safety net, okay? But the fact that you point out the Jews in particular is insane. Why don't you point out white people? Right? Because white people certainly are in a better position. Why don't you point out Chinese Americans? Because Chinese Americans certainly are in a better position. Why don't you point out redheads? Because apparently, for some reason, redheads are in a better position than a lot of other people. All right. So why specifically Jewish people, motherfucker? Why specifically Jewish people? Okay. We all know what's going on. All right. You are anti-Semitic. Okay, you want to be the contrarian that is cool for pointing out the facts, okay? And the fact being is that you're an anti-Semitic piece of shit, okay? Hell yeah.
Diversity in like corporate positions.
Yeah, if your claim is that this is a response against Jewish entitlement, let me tell you something. You're not doing anything by putting more Nazis on Twitch, okay? You're not doing anything by making them feel better about themselves. They have to work out their own shit, okay? Like I said, I'm totally fine with you having the server in isolation and stuff like that. But we don't need someone to save them who's just going to fucking play into their stupid-ass talking points.
You know what? I'm more on Ninetales' side now, okay? You know what? I see where Ninetales is coming from. I see... You know what? Ninetales is wrong, like, throughout this entire debate so far. Like, she is pushing way too far past the line, okay? I don't think he's doing the JQ. He's not doing the JQ right now, okay? Like, that could be part of the JQ, but I would even argue that this is, like, commonplace anti-Semitism, okay? Not the JQ specifically. JQ specifically is that there's some kind of conspiracy that's putting Jewish people in high places on purpose, okay? Because they want Jews to, like, control every aspect of culture and economics and whatever, right? But in my opinion, okay, this is just a very common anti-Semitic talking point, not necessarily specifically the JQ.
Okay, so again, I don't think this is a Nazi talking.
Like don't overextend. If you overextend, then you're gonna look mad. Okay.
Point. But I'm really curious as to because I feel like
I think you're only saying that because it's politically expedient.
No,
it is a midwit talking point. It is like a silly talking point that is begging a question that is contradictory with your whole like point.
What's the question that's being begged?
The point you're begging this, like you're taking this idea. The Jewish question is the one being begged because you're saying that whenever people are in prominence inside of a position, whenever people are represented more than their general population, that is a problem. Can you explain why people being represented more in like a business field matters?
Hold on, housekeeping, gang. Housekeeping for a minute. First of all, right? Thanks, gang, for watching. Thanks, Dooby, for being willing to do this because accusations have been leveled. If you guys want to join the discussion, which is heating up.
Why is he wrong? I feel like it is as high as 70 to 80%. It is really bad. Yeah, but like just because it's 70 to 80%, explain why that's bad. Because I want you to explain why that's bad in particular, right? Because a lot of people see high percentages and they automatically think that's a bad thing, right? I mean, it could be a symptom of a problem, it could be an indicator or a red flag of a problem, but that isn't necessarily actually the problem, right? Like, for example, like we take a look at Congress and it's like mostly white people, right? And we're like, okay, why is like 70 to 80% of Congress like old white people? And we think to ourselves, is it inherently bad? Maybe, I guess, like maybe we need more black people in Congress, but that isn't necessarily good either, right? Instead, it's better to analyze that situation through the lenses of who's going to be passing the legislation and the bills that you want, right? Who's going to be passing the things, the reforms that you want, right? That's the lenses that you should be analyzing that on a case-by-case basis and on like a legislation basis, okay? Not the color of people's skin in Congress, right? I see the same thing, okay? I see the same thing here, okay? It makes absolutely no sense to me how people get so fixated on anti-Semitism when, again, Chinese Americans practice nepotism, okay? Any family practices nepotism. Every single person does referrals. White people does referral. Everyone does this, okay? This isn't a Jewish specific problem, okay? Not even by a long shot, okay? All right? Yeah, sometimes you get born Jewish and you end up lucky because guess what? Jewish families tend to be very wealthy, okay? But it's just like, in my opinion, the percentage isn't the important part. It's about what that percentage indicates, okay? That is what's important. Listen to me, okay?
And we're getting more people. Please do so. Also, feel free to donate because I need your money. Bits.
Yeah.
All good.
Wick needs the money. He needs to fix that teeth.
Okay, somehow I'm like giving coherent commentary while being on 3 hours of sleep. Okay. All right, cool.
I'm just saying, Dooby, you seem extremely reliant on people that you're talking to being leftists and being like anti-capitalists or anti-America in order to agree with your points. But that's like a weird cudgel. You're like taking advantage of like an argument that hasn't even been proven. Do you even
You need sleep? I think I commentate better when I don't have sleep.
agree with the argument that representation needs to be equal based on
I think I commentate better when I don't have sleep.
what race? Just because of like race? I don't understand why entertainment would need to be equal.
Well, you're not. Well, that's because you're not engaging with what I said. Right?
Okay,
So first off, I'm not an anti-capitalist. I'm very much a nationalist. I think I made this very clear. So I think that
You're the same.
one of the ways that I am a nationalist is that I think that America needs to be a diverse society. I think it needs to be more inclusive. I think we need to recognize the results of like generational oppression. And if some of those results is that Jews tend to be more overrepresented in the banking industry, for example, and this leads to other groups not having as much influence there, not having as much say, not being able to provide their perspectives in this industry, then yeah, it's something that we should amend. Right?
Why?
Because I think that we can't like look at people as like how do I explain this to you?
Don't you recognize that that's inherent?
Well, nobody has a brother. Nobody has a problem with Latinos being overrepresented in construction or janitorial work. This is such a stupid fucking point. We literally don't point out this shit for any other fucking race except for maybe Indians, okay? But typically whenever Indians is being pointed out, it's specifically because the person is racist, which is why when you specifically point out Jewish people in businesses, okay, you are like, this is an indication of racism to me, okay? Or anti-Semitism to be more precise, okay? Like, to me, at the very least, this is not like a fucking issue, like, unless you make it an issue, okay? And you have yet to explain why this is even an issue in the first place.
Apparently against
I don't
capitalism.
think I think identity matters.
America.
Hold on, I think identity matters in the same way that if these industries were dominated just by like 100% white people, I think that matters. I think that if you're growing up in a similar like upbringing, culture, tradition, it's like all the people around you, you're not really going to understand the black and brown people who didn't come from that culture, tradition, and upbringing. And I think that because we have such a diverse society, I think it makes sense for the levers of power to have diverse people holding them.
But are the levers of power, as you describe it, actually supposed to be meritocratic, which is like a capitalist belief, or are they not supposed to be? You're not drawing this line
meritocratic right now. I've told you like 3 times. I don't think this is meritocratic.
Why do you like capitalism? Then? What's good about it? Why are you a pro-capitalist?
I'm not like a. I think you're like. I'm not like an ANCAP or something, right? When I say pro-capitalist, we've had arguments about this before. I'm totally okay with the government nationalizing certain industries that I think would be beneficial for the nation, right? Like for example, the internet.
This Dooby guy is slippery.
Or gas, for example, like the fuel industry. I think that there's certain areas where there shouldn't be a profit motive, like healthcare, college education, right? So I'm not like a capitalist in that like I'm like totally like pro the individual doing whatever the fuck they want.
I don't necessarily disagree with what he's saying. Yes, I don't disagree either, but keep in mind, okay, he did say that he was an authoritarian. Okay, in my opinion, he is anti-Semitic. So let's just check off the boxes real quick, okay? So authoritarian, anti-Semitic. He wants what's good for the citizenry, which is healthcare, thriving capitalist economy, blah, 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 right? These are still, like, if I were to label, like, these still kind of fit under the label of Nazi, okay? Authoritarian, anti-Semitic, but the only part, in my opinion, that is not lining up with that is that he said specifically that he likes it when societies are more diverse. Now, the real question is, diverse how, right? Because if we're talking about diversity in the sense of like black people, brown people, Asian people, Latino people, Jewish people, then yes, I guess that's true diversity. But if Dewey believes in diversity among white, Western, European countries, that's not typically what people think of when it's that, right? Now you're doing some kind of weird eugenics thing. You want to know Dewey's skin color? Prime Kai told me it is black. You know what? I'm not surprised that he's black, okay? Black people are some of the most racist motherfuckers I've ever met, okay? All right? That's a fact. Okay?
All the fruits of your labor, et cetera, et cetera. I think we need to be aware of the social context and of the impact of the rest of the people in your community.
I'm telling you right now, man, I don't think that you're a capitalist. Like, I just don't, and I don't even mean this in like an extreme way. I think that like you're saying that you're a capitalist, but you sound a lot more like a lefty, and it, like, part of this like organized system thing. I don't think that, like, I don't understand why you like America so much if all of these things that you see are problems. The only thing that makes sense is that there are a couple of things that work together.
Yeah, why would you hold on. Why would you believe Prime anyway? Okay, like Prime is like he's equal parts deranged. Okay, he's kind of stupid as well. Like he doesn't have the brain cells to process the information that is coming from his eyes. Okay, like he has a fucking information like shortage in his brain. Okay, anytime when he's like, well, what do I see right now? He's probably like, I can't process everything's black or white because there's like a blockage in information to his like fucking nervous system.
The thing that we have now is a good power system and needs to stay kind of the same, but be changed in these small ways, which always incentivize government power. This is why I think that people think you're a Nazi, right? Because you want to privatize industries, concentrate power, and move forward and like wrinkle out a free like market. Now, that's
honestly, I have a question. Can it goes off of this? No, please.
I want to privatize.
I just want to let other people in just real quick.
So,
just to follow up on something he said, I was.
Okay, I wouldn't say Nazi. I would say fascist, right? Or authoritarian. Yeah? I wouldn't say not like, but then one part of this that's not really fascist is that, again, he did say he wants diversity, but I'm just not sure what kind of diversity he is talking about.
Being super patient.
You can, but after your follow-up, we need to give space to both Yamato and Chris.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, agreed.
So you said that you don't feel responsible for what happens if you put yourself in other communities. I'm just curious, if, say, a Nazi were to become popular because they started in your community and then went to another community that they found out about you, would you not feel responsible at all for making a Nazi, say, popular and viral online?
No. So this has already happened, actually, sort of. But he's not a Nazi anymore. I wouldn't call him a Nazi anymore. So Flamenco, who I think is something.
Oh, okay. That's debatable for sure.
Well, he used to be way more far right,
far white,
both of them, right? To the point where it's a funny story. He actually owns my friend Teo.
I wonder if this is like the no true Scotsman scenario where, oh yeah, I can't ever be truly a Nazi because my definitions for being a Nazi is not me.
He's like a Nigerian guy. He owes him like $100 actually, because years ago, when the fucking Charlottesville riots happened, right, and the Unite the Right thing happened, and I think it's Heather Heyer was like murdered by that fucking idiot in the car. Flamenco was like totally.
Okay, fucking idiot. See, you gotta pick out the language in between languages. Okay, the words in between words. That person was not just a fucking idiot, right? Careful. You guys smelling what I'm smelling? Why would he describe that murderer, that unhinged, psychopathic, far-right murderer as an idiot? That's a very light insult to give to a Nazi.
Favor of Unite the Right, totally in favor of those groups, and was fucking sure that the guy wouldn't be prosecuted, right? So
I'm bothered by
he came from my community years ago, made his own platform, and now he's like pretty well known in certain spaces, right? Like on Cozy One. So, but I wouldn't call him a Nazi anymore. He's definitely not as far right now as he was back then, and I think that's a good thing. But if somebody hops into my server, is like super far right, is a Nazi, and then hops into some other community because they saw me in there and gets popular, again, that's not really. I can't really be held responsible for people's.
You know what this is? Hold on. I still only have one sound on my soundboard. Okay.
An ability to convince Flamingo out of his
You know what
ideas.
this is?
Well, it's like I said, that you're playing with fire, and you're going to other communities and forcing other people to play with the fire that you're playing with, to the point where it affects the larger online space. And to say that you're not bringing Nazis into this space is, I think, delusional.
Do you think I'm being forced right now?
I think that if Nazis come to your space, you're going to be forced to deal with it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, forced in the most like weird sense of the word, right? Like I'll be forced to.
I just answered your question, Wick. I just gave you the answer.
Okay. I want to give space to Chris and Yamato. Go ahead.
Oh, where is it?
Yeah, I don't know what
Can't
type
find
of reverse psychology psyop Tuna was trying to do against Dooby. He's not a lefty. Like, I don't know why you even ran down that logic. That's kind of ridiculous. I don't know how many times Dooby has to tell us exactly who he is for us to actually believe him. Like, he's not lying about anything. He's super honest about his community, what his goals are, everything.
That's me and Dooby, okay? I'm like thinking, is this motherfucker an alt-right Nazi? And I have no choice but to play this.
Right? We know what it is. Like, this isn't new.
I just can't
prove it. We just have to accept that the people who run these spaces are like, they know what it is. Like, this is a maximization of the entertainment value of all these things, and it is playing with fire. It is dangerous, but like, by now we all know, like, this is like what these people in these spaces sign up for. This is what they want. So like, I mean,
I'll tell you what though. Okay, the circumstantial evidence definitely lines up, but you know, you can draw a line between any point, right?
What are we going to get at? What exactly are we getting out of this? If there's no incentive for the change to happen that you want to happen, especially from the audience members, it's just not going to happen, right? If the audience,
no, I want to know why I'm supposed to believe that you don't purposely want to bring Nazis into the online space. How are we supposed to know that? Because you can just say it all day, but you're doing the opposite.
Well, the goal, if to bring them into space, is probably to either hear from their point of view or de-radicalize them. Sometimes we can admit de-radicalizing doesn't always fucking work, right? And it's just a Nazi in the space. But you know what we do? We fucking ban those people.
Victims of Nazism are the ones who pay for when it doesn't work, not Dooby.
But we know this.
You don't think Dooby knows that?
Yeah, and I think being nonchalant about it shows how absolutely vile this is.
We know this.
I think that's a weird slippery slope, though.
Don't you think though also like it is important to have a de-radicalization space because
for people who know what they're doing and not bleeding this into the rest of online politics? Yes, but talk to Vivian Wolf. She'll actually educate you on how to do this and how.
Oh no! Oh my God! Please don't bring on Vivian.
Sure,
yeah,
but
how the way Dooby is doing it is absolutely wrong. I'm guaranteeing.
How can you like? But that's exactly it. Like Dooby's just like a random frog on the internet. So how can we trust that this frog went to that frog school to get that frog education? Like at the end of the day, he's just a person.
Oh, hey, I remember Testicle Johnson.
Yeah, I'm exactly not. I don't want him in other spaces.
I don't know about that, but like I did.
Literally, this entire like fucking panel is. It's literally that, but the panel.
Exactly not, and that's why I don't want him in other spaces.
Doobie does have connections to talk to like people like Daryl Davis, who does de-radicalize people. Now, whenever I bring up Daryl Davis, there'll be some people that say it doesn't work, or he's just the C word that I'm not going to say, or anything like that. But like
a Canadian.
Canadian, whatever.
Yeah.
But like, you don't think that he's brought these people that de-radicalize into the space to help de-radicalize people? Because it was like, thanks to Doobie, I got to speak to Daryl Davis, right? But like, are you saying that like that doesn't happen behind the scenes and it's just a Nazi server and fucking nothing but swastikas get posted in like hidden chats and it's all just a game?
There's never a real discussion being had, and it's just a bunch of memeing and shit posting all of the time. And there's very few downtime where there's little violence going on. Yeah, I don't think people are being radicalized. I think it's a giant echo chamber and a circle jerk.
I am trying to have an actual conversation.
Oh, like political compass memes? Because that fucking subreddit is probably like full of Nazis just waiting to radicalize people, because anytime there's like memes or whatever, like they just find some way to radicalize via memes and, post some fucking goy slop.
Right, or at least have you all have an actual
conversation. Step off for a while.
But
I won't step off, but I'll step down for a while.
Okay, but that's not what I'm saying here. But what I'm saying here, right, is that I am allowing people who have serious criticisms of what Dooby is doing to come on and confront him and question him directly. If it doesn't end up being a real conversation, that's on you, gang, right? That's on you. So, carry on.
Wait, you don't think this is a real conversation?
Wait, can I ask a question? So how, like, Ninetales, I think you've spent some time on my server, and I know, I think I've told everybody on Twitch this. My server is not for everybody, right? It is a very aggressive place. You're gonna find lots of.
No, but she's not talking about whether or not it's for everyone. Okay, she's talking about specifically, like, is it a conducive environment? Whatever.
People who hate you for who you are and are extremely excited to tell you about it. So I've been very open about that. But I don't like. How would you say that it's an echo chamber? Like, we have a very, very diverse community. Like,
because it's a dehumanizing climate.
Wait, hold on. Dehumanizing who?
What does that mean?
The people who are at the butt of the jokes going on there.
Everyone? Yeah,
like everybody. You can say that, but there is a particular majority who feels rather impervious.
Who?
The normative majority. I don't think race actually matters on your server. It doesn't seem like, but every other minority seems rather excluded, or if not silent.
Are we
What do you
talking
mean
about
racism being on the
trans?
server?
Are we
Like,
talking about like trans people being excluded? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm saying that, okay, so with your server, I'm saying it's not a place to de-radicalize people. With the broader
that I
community,
disagree.
you make it unsafe because people who would otherwise avoid your server
Okay, this is why Ninetales is fucking
no
retarded.
longer can.
Okay.
wait, they can literally just not go into the server. No, to be
No,
I
because
do-
you're
I do
bringing
think that-
you're bringing the people from your server to other places.
And again, if people that run those places don't want them there, they can ban them. That's their space.
I can't ban somebody in Wick server if you bring them there. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, then go to another space. If Wick wants them in his space.
I kind of like Wick server. I prefer if you didn't ruin it. Thanks.
There are plenty of like lefty safe spaces on the internet. Like you can go there if you don't want to talk to these people.
I'm pretty sure there's plenty of
everything you can to downplay what you actually do. Thank you.
Oh, listen,
I don't think he downplayed
I
anything.
don't think he downplayed
Yeah,
it.
he's been completely fucking honest. He doesn't downplay anything. I agree with Chris. He lets people know exactly the type of fucking person he is. He's just been extremely honest.
Literally said there's zero responsibility. I don't know how you can't think that that's not
No,
downplaying it.
that's his belief, right? He believes he has zero responsibility. That's
I don't care if it's his belief. It's stupid. I don't know how anybody who isn't.
I guess maybe explain why it is my responsibility. So if I go into a space like this one, right, and I don't
Because
visit
you can't have it
server,
both
I don't
ways.
visit Wick server often, but when I do, if someone from my server decides to pop in and they're just a piece of shit, right, why is that my responsibility?
Because you can't have it both ways, where you're claiming that your de-radicalization is harmless, while you're also spreading people who may be radicalized into other communities that aren't inherently radicalized.
Wait, okay, so my server is not a dedicated de-radicalization space. Like that's not what it is.
Well, then stop claiming that there's any
but-
benefit to it. No, sorry. If it's not, then I don't. Then it's not. Then
Okay,
you can't fall back on that.
So is it all right?
that's-
Listen,
It's
listen.
facetious.
So this
And
might
it
be,
undermines the people who do real work.
this might come as a stretch, but is your server like just a place for people to come and shit on each other so they can get some type of understanding about one another through shitting on each other? Dooby?
What is this getting an
way that
understanding
I-
about each other? How do you know
Well,
that?
it's important to get.
I'm asking a question.
How can any of us quantify this though?
He's
You
at,
can be there and you can see it. So the way that
He's
I
basically just
the way that I think
framing
of-
this that way. It's better for him. Sorry, I'm done. I really am
It's okay.
done.
The way that I think of my server is like an online bar, right? Where people come in, they want to yell about the shit they saw on TV or on YouTube, and they yell at each other all day. And eventually, they get tired of yelling and they have actual, like, decent conversations. It does happen, definitely happens. And I've been there long enough to see lots of people come in just like totally hating a certain religious group or minority group or whatever. But eventually, these people are in the community. They're not going anywhere. You need to interact with them, and you start to see them as human beings. And I think that's the key to de-radicalization. My server is not like a dedicated de-radicalization space, but it definitely happens in the community. It just when you're interacting with somebody every day and you're talking about beyond talking about the political news of the day, you're talking about life and the things that you like and the experiences that you've had. I think you're going to need to see them as a human being at some point, and that definitely happens.
Yeah, I mean, also, like, because at the end of the day, like, people are less scary if you're thinking about even in the case of other communities. Like, you'll have, because we have this conversation, we have all this idea about what you think a trans person is based off of sort of broad stereotypes and assumptions, but then there's the reality of what an actual trans person is like, in the same regards that, like, you have ideas about what Jewish people are, but if you actually have conversations with Jewish people, it's going to be a different experience. So if you create an environment where you can have that dialogue, it does just by sheer numbers and likelihood create more of an opportunity to learn and understand than if you're
You can also create that environment without having an environment where Nazis can have a dialogue.
Well, yes, but Nazis need to understand why they're dumb fucks, right? So, like, if we want to help Nazis understand why they're being
Ninetales goes too far in the claim that, like, she believes that no Nazi should be platformed, obviously, right? Like, she sounds deranged. But then I think that Dooby probably does, I don't know, like, Dooby is only doing better in this debate because Ninetales is, like, self-sabotaging.
stupid heads, then we need to first and foremost.
Is that the technical?
No, I don't think being a Nazi savior is something you just take up as a hobby.
But if it's true that the politics server is how Ninetales describes, where it's just a bunch of like fucking crypto fascist memes being posted everywhere, then yeah, I can understand why that's concerning.
I'm not saying anything about being a Nazi.
Okay,
server. I left the Catholic Church for a
I want
reason.
to redirect this. This is
All
getting
right,
way
so
off. It's going in circles.
as far as like framing it so it could be a fucking better argument for Dooby, no, I'm not doing it. I'm literally trying to get like what is the objective of fucking Dooby's server, not trying to make him sound like this good guy or anything.
I gotta be real with you,
Yeah.
right? I don't care about his server right now. I'm curious. A lot of people have made accusations that he is a fascist, and I want that to be the center, right? Like, I want that to be.
Well, yeah, I think when your definition of equality involves including Nazis, that sounds like a great, like something a fascist would also sympathize with.
I thought
So
this was going to be like questioning like say more so Wick and involvement and like I thought this was like a call in about like platforming.
If you want
That's
to,
right.
want to talk
yeah,
about
Wick-
me, right? You may. But,
yeah, Wick.
But you might go to the
same here.
void.
No, you're fine. But no, you
So-
can criticize me
Well, who's
directly,
gonna
sure.
laugh?
But right
I'm just
now,
there.
we did change it a little bit because Dooby
Yeah.
came in and
Yeah.
did a lot of accusations towards Dooby, and so we made that the focus.
All right, so I have one real quick. Wick, I felt like when you did that Kanye.
Hey, is this Black Yamato, right? Wait, yeah, this is Black Yamato. Oh my god, it's all just a bunch of random viewers that I once had or have. Dooby's in the fascist. He's a contrarian debate pervert. That's also not surprising. But I think that he's a leftist. I think in my opinion, like if you were to really like whatever, he is like a USSR adjacent leftist. Like he doesn't directly support the USSR. Okay, but he probably supports like a more diverse version of the US. He's a tinky, basically. Like in my opinion, like he is pro Hamas. Okay, he is pro Hamas. He is pro authoritarian. He wants diversity. He wants to consolidate power. He wants the private companies to give themselves up to the state. These are all tinky positions. Even anti-Semitism is a very tinky thing. Okay, like anti-Semitism, Knots Bowl type shit. Like that's all tinky shit, right? So in my opinion, like I think Dooby is just a tinky.
Panel. It was kind of like, did you get any like, did you reach out to any like black?
In fact, I'm so confident in this. I would probably like bet on this, in my opinion. But what can I say?
People at all? Did you like try?
Because I feel like the way that I diagnose people's positions in this space have been entirely accurate. Like entirely accurate. Okay. And I don't see how different this one is either. Okay. I think that Dooby is most likely like a Nazbol.
Too. Because you just had a fucking group of white guys.
Okay.
So you know what? I think that I'm just continuing my streak. Okay. I'm just continuing my streak of being correct.
So
That's
Tubi,
it.
you remember Tubi who was on earlier? I reached out to him, but he's busy.
Okay. What about like what about anybody else? Like just 2B or?
No, just him pretty much. But I only needed one spot at that time, and I basically shotgunned it to a bunch of people, and I think it was Kevin Logan answered first. So Kevin Logan on. I would say like we've talked about this in like the DMs about like how representation like matters, and how like if we don't have anybody of a certain group on when we discuss these issues, it'll make us look it'll make you look bad, right? I think Portland is getting like the gist of that, right? Because he read a study and people called him out for that. No, yeah, Paulie called him racist earlier.
And I mean, it's not the only fucking person. I heard Chud Logic called him racist too.
Yeah. I think,
like
I'm gonna say that's not a fair character.
Chud Logic calling something racist is like poop calling shit brown. I don't fucking know. Like, what do you want me to say?
Of Portland is burning. He's not.
Yeah, listen, if Chud Logic, the man who did digital blackface, is calling you fucking racist, and I don't know, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like my fear or my like way of thinking is that when Dooby talks about when Dooby talks about like diversity, I think he means like diversity as in like please less Jews. That is what I think that Dooby is referring to. I think what he's referring to is I want there to be less Jewish people.
For the memes, he was doing it for the argument. Dooby, please.
I think that's what
I think I implied. I think I called him a racist too on the panel, but I don't. I was actually just joking. I thought it was clear that I was joking. I don't think he's a racist. I think he just expresses his position clumsily, which happens sometimes.
Okay, so, I wanted to let Chris, because Chris said he had something for me, so I want to let Chris go.
Not so more like criticism, but like I just want to know like a clear like goal of what you want to do with these, what you want to do with this platform.
So for me,
like, for me, like on the outside looking in, it's more of like these conversations are fun. So people are like different groups of people who join in and like argue together. It creates interesting dialogue, and it's like clear entertainment value. And I understand it. I get that, right? I'm like I try to stay away from these spaces, but like something in me just wants to come back and keep arguing with these people. But I have to get over myself with what I want these spaces to be, because I can't make that happen, right? These are not my.
I mean, that sounds like an addiction. I recommend getting checked out for that. Okay, good luck.
Spaces, right?
If I may, like, just very briefly, right? I'll give the spiel, right? So again, I'm not here to de-radicalize everyone. Like, it's not a dedicated to radicalization space. But what I am trying to do is provide a space where people can have their beliefs challenged. Diversity of thought is the diversity that I'm looking for most of all here. I want people to come away and hear a wide variety of opinions on a topic. Some they may not have taken seriously before, and hear people who will argue them effectively. And I want them to challenge their ideas. And entertainment is a part of it. If it's
but Wick, that's soy. Come on, dude.
Fun. Great. I hope it is, right? And if I can make some money, I hope I do. And speaking of which, give me money, because this is annoying, and I want money, gang. So give me goddamn money if you want me to keep going. But does that answer your question?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and like I think we're gonna keep getting these like people complaining about it, and like I understand Nine Tails' complaints and their wants for the space. I just like we do this run over and over this topic over and over again, and I just want people to realize like you want a safe community. This can't happen in these types of spaces with these types of goals. That just you're gonna run into people who are gonna come in who are fucking shitters or who are fucking evil people that you're gonna have to like deal with having a kick. If you want to have these type of spaces, that's what you're just gonna have to deal with. And no matter what, no matter how much we like criticize Dooby or like say he's evil, which the space he runs is like very evil. It's fucking terrible, and I wouldn't recommend anyone go into it. But like it is what it is. We like
you know what? Crazy. Wasn't this guy like fucking defending Dooby? Wasn't this guy like fucking defending Dooby? What happened? This guy turned heel, dude. This guy fucking turned heel. This guy was defending Dooby. Now he's talking about how like the space is fucking evil. That's crazy. Okay.
I understand this now, right? I'm gonna criticize. I'm gonna fucking like go off on any one of these people who come in with some like shit views, but that's about as much as I can do. And other than that, if I need to, I'll influence and like tell people who I would think aren't safe in these spaces not to come here, right? I'll do what I can to make sure they know these aren't safe spaces to be in, to like
Smothering
have
in the
like
background. What the
the type of conversations they want.
What
So
is
I think
going
if you
on?
don't like the way these spaces are run, you should take take yourself elsewhere
Wait, is that Zonia? I hear Zonia's. That's Zonia's fucking voice. Oh my lord.
and take the
Wait, Chinchilla, are you hearing this shit? All these fucking old heads, dude. I feel like there's only like a limited number of people who remembers all the fucking Twitch poll old heads. Man, I fucking hate most of them, to be honest. But these people, I have a history with all of them at this point.
people you think aren't safe in these spaces.
So how many spaces do I have to start forming friends in before Dooby shows up, and then I can no longer go there?
And before we address that, Nire Socks, Changebox, thank you both for the gift subs. If we get one more individual gift subber, we can get. Oh, we just did Hype Train, so give me.
Dude, the amount of people who have exited this space is wild. I can't tell you guys like how many people have exited Twitch poll. All right, just an unhinged amount of people have left Twitch poll. I don't know. Times change, people change, and people leave. I like eventually it'll be my time as well. Eventually I'll go as well, but hopefully not soon. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, people who were once like thriving and very active in this space are now gone. It seems to be the ultimate fate of everyone who resides in Twitch poll.
Funny gang, but to address, I agree with you. I agree with you, Chris. Like if someone is legitimately does not feel safe, or if they are extra sensitive, like my space is. I said this earlier. My space is not for everyone. It's for anyone. Anyone who wants to and who likes this kind of stuff can come in, and they're free, right? But not everyone's going to want to, and that's okay because it's good to have a wide variety of different spaces, right? We can agree on that. Like we need spaces that are safe, right? And we need spaces that are unsafe.
They are subhuman creatures.
Okay. Ninetales.
What is Zonia going on? Who is playing Zonia in the background on the
Matter of sensitivity. It's just a matter of experience that a lot of people who enter your space aren't warned that, hey, if you make friends here, you might also get pushed away once like these characters show up, because there is no really real way to warn people of that. And it's usually a very upsetting thing. It's not actually your server that's happening. It just happened to me in another server already, but thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I felt that way about being in another space too, where I just like, it gets to a point where I just couldn't be there, right? And that's okay, right? And I've influenced other people, or I try to like talk to people.
You also admit for Dooby to say that he has no responsibility is ridiculous?
I can't do anything about that, right?
No, for him to say he has no responsibility. No, Cosmic, I'm not asking you to do anything, Cosmic. I'm just asking you, is it ridiculous to say that he has no responsibility for his impact on the state?
It is, but I don't care at this point, right? It is ridiculous, but I don't care, right? It's what Dooby's Dooby.
I'm not asking you to care. I'm really not.
Can I
Okay.
ask a question? So I'm just trying to figure out like what the line of this like the standard is, because someone that I had like a pretty brief like connection to is Brittany from Politically Provoked. We actually set up a like a space on.
Oh, is Brittany from Politically Provoked still around? Damn, dude. Oh man, these people are just. I wonder if like Mio is still around. Mio is like the 16-year-old, 15-year-old like neo-Nazi kid who fucking effectively turned Brittany into a neo-Nazi. And now, like, it seems like Brittany is, like, trying to groom Mio. I don't know. It's, like, so fucking weird. And Brittany is, like, one dumb asshole, okay? Like, she is dumb as shit, alright?
On the server for them, like on the Discord server, for them to set up a.
She is, like, normally I would say it's, like, incredibly sexist to, like, say that she is a stereotype, but I'm telling you, dude, like, she is a stereotype. She is a stereotype, okay? It's insane. A dumb question in your arguments with Hutch. Your argument is that we should punish the Republicans and Trump admin for their actions and crimes. And Hutch's argument is that we don't have a process to do that. And we can only vote Dems as in to make laws and amendments from doing it again in the future. But we can't undo the past or punish them because it makes them greater left like that. Yes. I don't know what else to say, but yes. Jay still calls out Surefire Taku. Okay, well, maybe we'll cover that after this.
Because
I think we're actually going to finish this. I thought that I wouldn't be able to finish this, but I think we're actually going to be able to finish this. Good for us.
Their Discord server kept getting deleted, and I offered like, hey, why don't I? So it seems like Discord doesn't like you. Why don't I just give you space on my server so you can set up your debates here, and that's it. But it was pretty quickly we came to realize that like her community is actually full of like full-on Nazis, and unfortunately, Discord would not allow Nazis on the platform. They used to, but after Charlottesville, they stopped. So I can't allow Nazis on my server, not openly anyway. And to be clear, I wish I could, like, to be super clear about that, because I like arguing with the Nazis. It's really funny. So we had to get rid of her channel, get her.
Do we ever argue with the Nazi? Like, I'm sure they would find things to disagree on, but whatever.
Her little group off the server, just because it was too risky, Discord US, all that shit. But Ninetales, you've been on her panels a lot. right? And her community, I think, it's just full of Nazis. So would you apply the same standard that you're applying to me to yourself? Would you say that it's irresponsible for you to go into communities right now?
I do, in fact.
So you don't enter other communities?
Well, no, when I go on her community, I make sure my community is isolated from that, so I don't promote myself on her.
Ninetales even have a community? Ninetales has like an audience of like 2 people.
Community. I absolutely refuse to do that. And the last time I streamed anything was the Bryson Gray thing, because I figured some people would want to see that. But the pop-ons I've been in have all been private. Nobody's seen that I've been on there except for Brittany's server. And I honestly, it's a trade-off for me, because I don't like the fact that she seems to make money from the hate donations.
Well, I mean, hold on, but it's not difficult for people to find you, right? If they want to. So if
they're not going to find me on Politically Provoked through there, and vice versa.
I mean those Nazis.
And vice versa.
Server to find you.
Vice versa, like. My community is not an easy to access place, especially not an easy place to get into and then start saying the wrong stuff. I'm very critical of anybody in any of my spaces, to the point where I'm very
Why? Oh my god! Why are you saying it like this though? Like, it's so gay for you to say it like that. Like, what is wrong with you?
Friendly for a reason, because if you're saying things that seem to me like off, then I'm going to push that. I'm going to question it. So unlike you, who's more like a passive actor and all this, I'm a very active person, and I'm aware of what I'm doing. So I'm making sure that
What, to all 3 of your people? Like, what?
That I catch any threat. It's called vigilance.
But you're not
I also
Vigilance. Where do these people even come from, bro?
I also do consider myself accountable for anything that happens.
Right. But you're not criticizing me for going to your community. You're criticizing me for coming to like Wick's community, for example. And you're in here in Wick's community. What's
Well, at this point, I'm criticizing you for having no sense of accountability. Like, are you a child?
Because it seems like if you're here, right, in this community, there is some chance that some of those Nazis from Politically Provoked who found out who you are, who hate you, might come here and interact with Wick's community in a way that's negative, right? So
my Twitter, by the way, my Twitter, which is searchable, my Twitter is not one of those places. Because I don't have a community on Twitter. I just use that to put my thoughts out there, to be honest. My Discord, though, I've only given Discord links to people in the server who I've had direct interactions with and who I trust.
Right, but you're here in Wick's community right now.
So it's the literal exact opposite of you, Dooby. It's the literal exact opposite. It can't get more polar opposite.
Okay, so again, you're not criticizing me for going into your community. I haven't been in your community.
You're right. I'm criticizing you for having no sense of accountability for your actions.
Okay, so I'm in Wick's community.
Grow up.
And I understand that you're upset that some of the Nazis or whatever from my server might come here because I'm here. So what is to stop the people who hate you, who saw you on Politically Provoked, who now
I'm the one who stops it, because I take accountability and I'm vigilant about it. I'm the one who stops it.
But how do you keep them from coming to this space against your will?
This server, I don't.
Oh, okay. Well, then why is...
Sometimes it's really hard to maintain your sanity in this space. It's very hard to stay normal. And I know that I'm like the last person to talk about staying normal, but like, you guys can understand why I might be normal compared with these guys, right? Like, is that at least understood? How I can be considered normal among these people? Like, these people are just like, I know that I'm unhinged, okay? I know I'm unhinged, okay? I know I'm crazy, okay? Whatever, okay? But these people are on a level that is entirely different from mine, okay? Like, these people are just they're insane. Like, they belong in an asylum, okay?
Why is it okay for you to be here, but it's not okay for me to be here?
Because again, I don't let anybody who I meet here, who I don't get to know over a while, into my space, and they're going to be more. So there are layers to which people just don't get in there. I have to basically feel like I know them a bit, which is a big thing.
They don't need your permission to hop into Wick's Discord server because you're here.
Okay, I wanna give.
You can claim it's equivocal, but I think you're reaching, and these are mental gymnastics.
Tuna has to go. Tuna, thanks for trying. So
no, it's fine. I think that something that's being missed here by both partially Doob and Ninetales. This is entertainment. I do not think that if Doob is a fascist or a Nazi, that if he's just online, not doing hate crimes, not doing Nazism, that it's the same thing. So when we take it very seriously, we talk about radicalization. Honestly, the most de-radicalized a person can be is become a basement-dwelling Discord user. So in the end, it might be a de-radicalization.
Nazis are entertainment. Thank you. So Nazis are entertainment. Nazis are entertainment, and
the producers. It's a whole. Mel Brooks, the producers. It's a whole ass movie about how entertaining Nazis are. The first person who was saying in the entertainment space that do we make fun of Nazis? Mel Brooks said,
do you think people can criticize that for being irresponsible in its handling, or do you think because it's entertainment, everybody has their hands clean just magically?
I think that it definitely, you should be looking at the pieces of media on a case-by-case basis. But if you're going to look at Mel Brooks as the producers, even the 1960s version, the whole point and the premise behind it was Mel Brooks said, I fought Nazis in World War II, so I'm a Jew. I get to make fun of them.
It's a real example of satire, unlike Discord, which is not real satire.
Well, I mean,
just stop.
Media changes. That's all.
Stop. We can have real Discord on we can have real satire.
That's not what Producers is about. Holy shit! How fucked does your brain need to be? What was the Producer? I never watched the Producers other than the actual dance, like the fucking Nazi dance thing. Like I haven't even I haven't watched the show, the movie myself.
Discord, etc. We real
Yeah, but it's clearly not going to be responsible with Dooby around.
I wanted to give a chance to what's your name? Ethanos?
Hi guys. So my name's Ethanos.
Hello.
It's like Thanos, like Ethan and Thanos. Ethanos.
Okay.
This one right here is called Wonderwall.
Nope. Okay, come on,
Terrible song.
weaponized discourse. Nope, just not the time for that. Okay,
Come on, Oasis.
Funny.
90s.
Haha.
Was that actually Olive doing that?
This one right here is called Wonderwall.
That's not... Wait, this isn't weaponized discourse. Weaponized discourse is a woman.
Nope. Okay, come on,
Terrible song.
weaponized discourse. Nope, just not the time for that. Okay,
Come on, Oasis.
Wait, that's not weaponized. Wait, that's not weaponized
Funny.
discourse.
90s.
Haha. Good
Britpop.
job. Jesus Christ.
No, I like grunge better.
Like
Let's be
garbage
honest
song.
here.
What the
I like grunge more,
We
so
can-
I
we
would.
can-
You know what? There's something about this Twitch poll that I miss. Okay, I will say, like, this version of Twitch poll, for as schizo and random as it is, it's got its charm, and it'll never come back. Okay, like, this was a lot of good memories. Like, it reminds me of me, like, on schizo panels back in the day, and like the most random motherfuckers would appear on these panels. People like Hunter Avalone would appear. You guys know that? I was on the same panel. I was once on the same panel as Hunter Avalone. And do you know what panel that was? Cherry. She once held panels for DGG for a short bit. But they were high quality panels. They were. Yeah, man. Oh, it's been so long.
all convene on that. Gang, we are
The unambiguousness plot of the movie is that they make a flamboyant musical stage play deep-throating the Nazis with the expectation that it'll fail, but it's wildly right. Yeah, I remember.
winding down a little bit. This has been wonderful, but unless I get
I'm
a huge
old.
amount
Can
of...
I ask
I'm
a question?
becoming
Oh,
old.
yes, you can.
I'm becoming
I
old.
I wanted to ask Nine something because like Dooby hit on something, and I think she should have really like Dooby is like dodging responsibility, and it's whatever he wants to do that. That's his choice. But Ninetales like jumping into politically provokes like space and like acting like people won't follow her from there into other spaces, like that's kind of hypocritical. Like, and politically provoked space, like that space is fucking terrible too. Even worse, like no one in that space is like unaware of where they are. They know what they're there for. So I don't know. Like if you're gonna criticize Dooby for doing this thing, which I do, I think it's wrong. But like it's what it is. What it is. Like you have to hold yourself responsible too. I don't think like anyone should be going in that space at all. Because you do like this. It's unavoidable to be dragging people from that space. They come through all the time and they have to be banned all the time. Fucking Britney spaces are like a fucking cancer that will never go away.
Can I ask you guys a question though? Because and this is also broadly like extended to the chat to basically everyone, because this conversation, it definitely seems to be very common online, depending on the spaces that you occupy. It does seem to be like a very frequent thing happening currently, but it does make me sort of curious because it reminds me of a conversation that I had in real life a couple of years ago at when I used to work at Starbucks, and I was a supervisor there, and I remember sort of when like a lot of the political sentiment started to change, people were asking like, if a Nazi comes into the store like as a Starbucks employee, do you still have to like just serve them the coffee, like whatever the coffee is they want, or like whatever their order is? And like the conversation was really sort of mixed at my store on this, because certain people were like, well, if he's just going to pay, if they're just going to pay for their coffee and get out, like as long as they don't say anything that is explicitly anti-Semitic, like they're a customer like everybody else, don't they deserve to
Can I
still?
ask a question on that? Like, how would they know? Are we talking about someone in?
Well, that's exactly it. Like,
I mean, if they come in a uniform, right? I'm assuming if they come in a uniform, right?
Like so like I asked like, how would you determine and how would you be able to actually tell if the person is Nazi? But it opened up this really interesting conversation, because I think it does kind of connect to what we're saying, is that like for the same reason in real life it's difficult to tell like if that person is actually a Nazi or not, if they're just coming into the store and they're just gonna like buy the thing and leave. I extend that question to you guys on Discord and these other digital platforms. Like would you not, if you were that barista, would you not serve that person that you believe is a Nazi? Why or why not? Because like I feel like everyone clearly has their own opinion on this, and that's why everybody's kind of like going back and forth on both sides.
Look, if you walk in covered in swastikas and stuff, like I'm kicking you out my fucking store. That's just me.
Even if like, but they're not saying like, because I think the conversation, remember we said, is like if they have it on a t-shirt, but they're not making any direct comment to their t-shirt, that, like in the same way that like I'm sure there's some Star Wars fans that are really pissed at me right now for wearing this shirt, but I'm not saying that Star Trek is better, even though it is. I'm just
substantive
existing.
difference. No, come on, man. That's ridiculous.
Is better. Okay, that's just the fact. I'm sorry.
But in the same question though, like if somebody just wants to sort of interact with the world and they have a difference of opinion, are we always going to be quick to push them away, or are we just going to kind of wait until they do the crazy thing and then push them away?
Yeah.
Like so, for example, well, I was just gonna maybe send like direct comparison like Star Trek and Star Wars, but you can look at like a religious worldview like Islam, right? or like deeply like Christian or Catholic people.
Oh my god, it's Stick Unchained, the unhinged Destiny Antifan. Oh my god, how do I know all these names? Oh my god, I'm the only one left. Everybody else already exited this entire fucking space. It's over. So I'm the only one left. I love the smell Sharpie. Okay.
Yeah, very very terrible opinions on like LGBT people, women's like roles, etc. Right?
Yeah.
Like opinions that I think are like abhorrent. Right? So if a devout Muslim comes into my shop, I can understand that he probably holds terrible opinions on things, right? But he's still just a dude. I think people are entitled to their terrible opinions as long as they're not hurting anybody.
Yeah, no, I'm curious because I think people have very different areas in the sand that they draw with that one. Because I have my beliefs, but other people see it completely different.
I wanted to allow space to our new person.
Hello, how are you?
Is that how you say Sick?
Yeah, that's how you say it.
Okay, Sick. What criticisms do you have of Dooby here? Come on, make them good.
Oh, okay. So I've not been listening to the stream because I was on my phone before. I don't know how often you platform Nazis, but if you don't do it very often or at all, you probably should, because it sounds like a lot of your chat and a lot of the people who come on, like Polly, don't actually know how to recognize what an actual Nazi is.
Oh, well, teach us, Padawan. What is it? How do we recognize an actual Nazi, and why should I platform them?
It sounds like people minimize Nazi down to bigotry and down to transphobia, down to racism and stuff like that. Nazism has elements of fascism and nationalism, and they're very exclusionary in the sense that somebody might view transphobia or maybe racism and stuff like that. But the methods by which they participate are much more sinister than saying an offhanded joke or saying some offensive comments on Twitter. It sounds like everybody's just way too fucking soy, and they need to grow a pair.
Chris, do you want to deal with this one? Come on,
this is dumb. Like, you don't need to have to have Nazis in the space and know what they are. And we know why individuals like Ninetales and others use the word the way they do, even when a lot of times someone's not fully a Nazi. It's because they are trying to provoke a response out of people to get certain people.
No, they're saying Nazi because people don't give a good representation of what a Nazi fucking is.
Yeah,
that's why.
That's a cop out. It's super fucking weak. We all know what Nazis are. We've all look. I don't know. I don't know how. I guess I don't know if you've known some a lot of these streamers for a long time. Ninetales knows what a Nazi is. She spends time with them, so you just admitted it in politically provoked space. She knows who they are, right? But Ninetales as a person is a provocative person who uses this terminology in this language purposefully to cause a response to get people to act in the way they want or need people to act, right? And a lot of times, right, all you need to do is click 2 or 3 boxes for them to call you a Nazi. I don't think that's necessarily correct and what they should be doing, but I understand why they're doing it, right? So we can't stop using this this idea that no one knows what Nazis are, so we should have them around so we can get better understanding.
Retarded. I can't. These. Oh my god. You know what? I'm glad that we're no longer talking about trans people. Okay, that's one thing I will never miss. Bro, can you imagine? Dude, every single week. Okay, there's some fucking Twitch poll panel about trans people and about women. Okay, I am so sick and tired of panels of trans people and womanhood. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, you would have to pay me to participate in one of these panels, okay? It's so, I can't.
This is such bullshit. We don't have all sorts of Nazi fucking literature floating around, or movies and things. You'd see the ideology throughout history. This has been a part of our culture. Every part of media, we've had things discussing what Nazis are. We've had them in our faces for so fucking long. We all know what they are. You go through school, primary school, learning about this shit. This isn't hard. I don't this is such a big fucking cop out. Just because
it's not a cop out.
Just because you get called a Nazi by some rando on fucking Discord one time doesn't mean much of any fucking thing. It doesn't.
Well, that's exactly it. That's the problem. Is it doesn't mean anything. It's
it's fucking no matter what most people say on this shit, it doesn't mean much of anything because it can't affect you in your real life mostly, unless you're being harassed or some shit or actual harm being done to you. But this isn't necessary.
Then isn't it a bit of a pointless and needless conversation to sit here and talk about something that isn't actually that much of a problem? It's only really a problem if you occupy certain spaces and you stay in certain echo chambers. But you're saying, to that point, if we sort of actually get out into the real world,
it is a problem. It is a problem in these spaces, but is it enough of a problem to where you want to deal with it, right? And for me, it's a problem, but I understand the problem, and what I can do is just come in here and shit on these people as much.
I'm sorry, but this whole thing, the problem is that we know what a Nazi is. We see Holocaust history. We understand that, but the issue is that we broaden the scope of what a Nazi is so much that it includes so many people that are not Nazis. And what happens is when we go on places like Reddit and Twitter and stuff like that, the comments about Republicans being Nazis is not ironic. That is what these people think, and they might not think that they're out there genociding Jews or genociding black people or trans people or anything like that. But the issue is that we're taking one really specific definition of a person, of a human being, that really encapsulates maybe thousands of people in this country, and then we're expanding those qualities, individual or maybe just a couple of them, to millions of people in this country, and then we're touching those two concepts with one another, so that way half of the country all of a sudden becomes Nazis. That is the issue. And you're saying, well, no, people know what Nazis are. No, but they call more people Nazis way more than there actually are inside this country, for sure.
People do this with all sorts of language. They've been doing it with trans people and calling them groomers and shit like that, right? We've had
those are two different terms.
Housekeeping, guys. Amanda, you're in charge till I'm back.
Okay, all right, I'm good. I've seen enough. Oh my god, I thought more would be determined about whether or not Dooby was actually a Nazi. I thought this is what the panel is about. Instead, this is Okay.
When you're talking
Oh my god, it's fucking Vivian Wolf. How do I know all these names? I need to get out of this space ASAP, okay? I need to get out of this space ASAP. I'm gonna go insane. I'm actually going insane, okay? Maybe it's like the 3 hours of sleep or something, like kicking in, but like, I'm telling you, dude. The fact that I know all of these names is a worrisome sign, okay? I shouldn't be knowing this many online schizos, okay? This many online schizos is insane. It's insane. How do I know this many online schizos? That's unhinged, okay? No healthy person should ever know all of these people by name, okay? I have issues. I have fucking issues. Fine, of course you know them. Yeah, because I've been in this space for years at this point.